The Hall of Famer who didn't just play the game, he reshaped it. Deion didn't just suit up, he shifted the cultural gravity of the NFL, infusing it with unapologetic confidence. And now he's doing it again in Colorado, streaming, leading, confronting the entire collegiate system head on. So naturally, when his son walks into Cleveland with that same steel-plated self-assurance, the league doesn't know how to react. They won't say it outright, but you can feel it. They'll compliment Shedeur's footwork, praise his film study, but the real reps, the first-team snaps, they're still locked behind glass like family heirlooms. Coaches are defaulting to safe bets, while Shedeur's left managing second and third string rotations. And that leads to the real question: if Shedeur Sanders had a different last name, if he weren't the son of football's most polarizing icon, would the Browns already be shaping him into the franchise's future? The stats scream yes. The tape confirms it. Even Kevin Stefanski can't help but gush. But the depth chart? It still whispers not yet. The league, comfortable dragging its feet. But reckonings don't vanish, they build pressure. Until they break through. Every laser Shedeur launches in Berea inches us closer to that reckoning, where raw, undeniable talent collides with outdated narratives and institutional inertia. Let's break down those numbers. 77% completion in practice. That's not just sharp, it's absurd. Training camp sessions are chaotic, receivers rotating, playbooks shifting, unpredictable scripts. Rookies usually hover near 60%, while trying to process the language of the league. Veterans often miss more than fans realize, but Shedeur, he's not just surviving, he's commanding. And those 9 touchdowns, that's surgical work. These aren't checkdowns or gimmies. He's dropping red zone darts, threading 30-yard throws, lofting precision touch passes over defenders. Multiple reads, complex concepts, elite-level ball placement. Meanwhile, Gabriel's hovering in the high 50s with 3 interceptions. Pickett, playing it safe. Flacco, when the pocket collapses, so does he. Statistically, Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback on the field right now. So why isn't anyone saying it out loud? Because admitting it would mean confronting the fact that they got the draft narrative wrong, that all the critiques about anticipation or the gimmicky Colorado system were off base. And some people in this league, they're still not ready to admit that Deion Sanders might have been right again. But here's the thing, numbers don't lie. They don't care about legacy, politics, or perception. They are what they are. And every time a beat reporter tweets out another eye-popping stat, the silence surrounding Shedeur feels less like caution and more like denial. And denial, it has an expiration date. If this kid keeps stacking 77% days, it won't matter how far down the depth chart you bury him. Truth finds daylight, and when it does, it incinerates every excuse. Now let's be fair. This isn't a knock on Joe Flacco. The man saved a broken team last season. He carried them into the postseason, reigniting hope in a fan base on life support. Cutting him feels cruel, maybe even unjust. The vets respect him. He's that calming presence, the steady hand. As for Pickett, well, that trade was strange. He came from Philly without a ring, but the Browns gave up capital for him and front offices hate admitting mistakes, so they'll ride it out. Gabriel? He's the scouting department's darling. Drafted 2 rounds before Shedeur. Letting him flame out early would mean answering some tough internal questions. So they're handling him like a fragile asset, gently, methodically. And then there's Shedeur, the disruptor, the spark, the wild card they didn't pay for, but the one already threatening to rewrite their timeline. Too many reps with the ones, and suddenly the safe narrative unravels. Suddenly, you've got a full-blown public relations dilemma on your hands, because if Shedeur clicks with the starters, like he did during OTAs, if he lights up practice again, then someone's getting traded. But I'm telling you right now, he's coming. And no amount of delay tactics can stall what's already erupting beneath the surface. This isn't just a quarterback competition, it's a collision of cultures. And it's unfolding in real time, right there on the grass in Berea. Let's just call it, when Joe Flacco makes a risky throw, it's labeled veteran savvy. When Shedeur Sanders makes the exact same play, it's rookie overconfidence. Flacco takes a sack on a pump fake, he's shaking off rust. Shedeur does it, he lacks pocket awareness. I've been tracking this closely, and it's become more than a battle for QB1. This is a story of legacy, mentorship, and the uncertain passing of the torch. You can feel it in the air at Brown's camp. Flacco, the seasoned warrior, knows the ground is shifting. He laughs with Shedeur, sure, but there's a look behind the smile. The look of a king watching the rise of a young prince, one who can summon millions with a single emoji. I've heard those film sessions are electric. Flacco breaking down blitz pickups from the 2012 playoffs. Shedeur countering with modern spread option adjustments from 2024. Sometimes the room just cracks up at the generational gap. Flacco mentions MySpace and Shedeur replies, "Man, I was 6 when that was a thing." But here's the part that matters. The Browns are standing at a crossroads and they've got to decide. Are these two quarterbacks clashing, or is this chemistry? Handled correctly, this could become a textbook mentorship arc, a veteran passing the crown to the prodigy. But mismanaged? If reps are handed out based on politics instead of performance, it could fracture everything. Locker room harmony, media relations, even long-term potential. In this league, transitions define legacies. Get it right, you build a dynasty. Get it wrong, you fumble your future. So take 2 seconds, smash that subscribe button, like the video, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters. Thank you for the support. And then came Colin Cowherd, like a bullhorn in a monastery. Just 2 weeks into minicamp, he detonated a take that echoed through all of Berea. The Browns stumbled into a star they didn't even want. According to Cowherd, Cleveland had its eyes on Gabriel and accidentally landed Shedeur. Now, the rookie is outplaying everyone. Say what you want about Cowherd, but don't pretend he doesn't have sources. He doubled down, said his league contacts were buzzing about how sharp Shedeur looked even behind closed doors. His pre-snap reads already more advanced than Gabriel's. And while Gabriel may be consistent, Shedeur delivers electricity. Here's the uncomfortable truth coaches won't say out loud. Media pressure changes things. Sure, they all claim they don't listen to talk shows or hot takes, but we know better. These narratives move merchandise, they spark ticket sales, they shift morale. When a national voice declares Shedeur the best QB in camp, local reporters have to respond. And the easiest way to cool the heat? Give the kid more reps, let the tape speak. Which brings us to the bigger picture. Because this isn't just about one quarterback or one camp, it's about how the NFL adapts or fails to players like Shedeur Sanders. Let's rewind. Deion Sanders didn't just play in the NFL, he exploded into it. Chains at team lunches, baseball on Saturday, football on Sunday, dancing on the Cowboys star. The owners loved the ratings, but the suits hated the independent. Deion answered to no one. Fast forward to 2025, Prime 2 is here, his son, same swagger, but now fused with social savvy, branding fluency, and NIL instincts that make old school endorsements look like antiques. Some NFL executives see potential, others see a threat to the hierarchy, but here's what they can't deny: you can't bury brilliance. Because if Shedeur Sanders succeeds, he rewrites the rules. Suddenly, rookies won't just want signing bonuses. They'll want content clauses in their contracts, personal videographers at team facilities, freedom to post locker room highlights, and creative autonomy the NFL has never had to reckon with. And that kind of player-driven empowerment, it terrifies the old guard. Stephen A. Smith said it plainly. They couldn't silence Deion, so now they're trying to silence his son. The league doesn't want a quarterback who understands his worth before they can assign a price tag. And let's not pretend race is part of this equation. The NFL celebrates black excellence, but only when it fits a familiar mold, polished, corporate, and reserved. That's the Russell Wilson archetype, and trust me, we're only scratching the surface. I'll unpack every detail, but first, If you've bled brown and orange for 16 plus years, smash that like button. Shout out to the fans who've stayed loyal for over 30 years. Your passion is unmatched. With the deepest respect, drop a comment like, "Let's go Browns, together we are unstoppable." Let's kick things off with the name that's suddenly electrifying the entire dog pound, Shedeur Sanders. Sure, you know him from Colorado, but this kid is proving he's more than just a college standout. Fifth rounder? That label is quickly looking like a misfire. Sanders arrived in Berea and made an indelible impression that few rookies ever do. Precision in the passing game, composure in the red zone, and an escalating rapport with his targets. All of it was on full display at OTAs. Now remember, we're talking jerseys and shorts, not full pads. It hasn't consistently faced a first-team defense, but the tools, the reads, the processing, the arm talent, it's all there. And while no one's penciling him in as the week 1 starter over Joe Flacco, let's be crystal clear. If Flacco doesn't take the opening snap, the only name that deserves to be in the QB2 conversation is Shedeur Sanders. But Sanders isn't the lone rookie turning heads. Quinshon Judkins is making the game look effortless, as in NFL ready from day one. Effortless. The way he's slicing through the defense, the burst he shows coming out of the backfield, it's textbook. Sports Illustrated nailed it when they labeled Judkins as a prototypical NFL running back. This isn't about potential, it's about proven readiness, strength, patience, explosiveness. He's got the complete package. And let's not forget the landscape in Cleveland's running back room. With uncertainty swirling and opportunities wide open, Judkins isn't just knocking on the door, he's about to bulldoze it down. He could be carrying the load for this offense far sooner than expected. Then there's Carson Schlesinger, another young up-and-comer, stealthily emerging from the shadows. You don't often hear about rookie linebackers commanding the spotlight early, but Schlesinger is the exception. His football IQ is off the charts. Jordan Hicks couldn't stop raving about his instincts, his play recognition, his ability to drop back into coverage, his relentless pursuit of the ball. This guy is already being whispered about as a potential defensive signal caller, a future green dot. If you're a Browns fan searching for the next defensive leader, you might want to keep your eyes on side number 53. And let's not forget Jerry Jeudy, who's not just cementing himself as a reliable wideout, but emerging as the guy in the receiver core. The chemistry he's building with Joe Flacco, it's real. Locker room camaraderie, daily conversations, on-field synergy, it's all happening. Jeudy is proving he's ready to embrace the WR1 role with Elijah Moore out of the picture. And he's doing it with crisp footwork, sharp routes, and the veteran savvy that can transform this passing game into a legitimate threat, assuming the quarterback play holds up. But for every riser, someone inevitably slides. And the biggest eyebrow raiser, Deontay Hardy, a complete no-show at voluntary OTAs. Now, yes, it's technically voluntary, but when you're a journeyman who's bounced from the Steelers to the Texans to the Ravens and now the Browns, you can't afford to miss reps, especially not with a new team, a new coaching staff, and a new quarterback room. This was his chance to stake a claim, and instead, he's left fans with more questions than answers. Let's be honest, if it doesn't work in Cleveland, where does it work? And then there's the elephant in the room, Deshaun Watson. Harsh? Maybe, but real? Absolutely. Watson was absent from OTAs, and the vibe surrounding his status feels like a slow fade to irrelevance. 2 rookie quarterbacks have been drafted. Flacco was brought in. Kenny Pickett was traded for. The writing's on the wall, and it's in bold font. When you combine his injury history, off-field controversies, and declining performance, the road back to being the guy looks like a tightrope walk. Watson at QB5? That's not just a slide. That's a free fall. And speaking of Kenny Pickett, what exactly is his role in all of this? Is he an insurance policy? Trade bait? Maybe both. He's stuck in a limbo between starter and backup, but the arrow is definitely pointing down. He's QB2 right now, but with Sanders and Gabriel flashing promise and Flacco locked in as QB1. Beyond him, Martin Emerson shows promise and Greg Newsome flashes potential, but neither has consistently given you that lockdown confidence week in and week out. But drop Alexander's name into the mix and suddenly everything changes. Alexander is a corner with elite ball skills and some of the best recovery speed in the game. His ability to rebound mid-route is a rarity. When healthy, he performs at a Pro Bowl level. Just look at his 2022 campaign: 56 tackles, 14 pass deflections, 5 interceptions. These are the hallmarks of a shutdown cornerback, no debate. But here's the catch: consistency has been elusive. He played only 4 games in 2021, 7 in 2023, and 2020 was no different. His only fully healthy stretch came in 2022. That's the risk profile. And then there's the financial reality. Alexander commands a premium salary, $21 million, 0 cents per year, making him one of the highest paid corners in the league. Worse still, last season, none of that was guaranteed. The Packers didn't trust his availability enough to commit, so why should the Browns? Because, Browns fans, sometimes you bet on talent. Sometimes you bet on upside. This defense has the skeleton of a championship caliber unit. The defensive line is elite. The secondary is one key piece away. Add Alexander and suddenly you've got a fearsome CB tandem. Ward on one side, Alexander on the other. That's a coverage nightmare for opposing offenses. Financially, it's not a no-brainer. Cleveland's current cap space sits around $18,100,000, 0 cents. Just shy of Alexander's price tag. But here's where it gets interesting. Greg Newsome's 2025 cap hit is $13,370,000, 0 cents. Trade Newsome, free up space, and suddenly you're working with over $30 million, 0 cents in cap flexibility. You could sign Alexander to a 1-year prove-it deal, manage your risk, and potentially supercharge your secondary. Let's be honest, Newsome has had his share of blown coverages. He's not the worst corner by any means, but if you're asking which player gives the Browns the best shot to lock down the AFC's top receivers, the answer is Jaire Alexander. 10 times out of 10. Now, let's flip the coin. Does Alexander even want to come to Cleveland? Interest is sky high. Sources say the Cowboys, Ravens, 49ers, Dolphins, and Vikings are all circling. These aren't bottom feeders. They're legitimate playoff contenders seeking that final piece in their secondary. But don't discount Cleveland. Here, Alexander wouldn't just be another piece in the puzzle. He'd be the piece, the game changer, the centerpiece of a defense that already wreaks havoc in the trenches. Slide him in next to Denzel Ward, shift Emerson into the slot, and now you've got versatility, depth, and a unit that can take on anyone. That's how you rattle Mahomes. That's how you shut down Joe Burrow. That's how you make a deep playoff run. This move isn't simple, it's not a guarantee, but it's absolutely possible. And the upside is monumental. It's the kind of signing that elevates the entire defense and hands the front office a victory that reverberates all the way to the postseason. So now I'm turning the question over to you. Should the Browns make this move? Go after Jaire Alexander. Could this be the piece we've been missing, or is the risk simply too steep? Drop your take in the comments right now. Let's delve deeper into this scenario. If Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski decide to pull the trigger and bring Jaire Alexander to Cleveland, the message is crystal clear. They're doubling down on defense. Pickett might just be the odd man out. His 2024 tape, mediocre at best. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 5 appearances. That doesn't exactly scream franchise quarterback. It whispers backup. And perhaps that's the hidden opportunity here. If Pickett fails to climb the depth chart, maybe he finds new value elsewhere. On the trade block, the Browns could potentially reclaim a draft pick, maybe a 5th or 6th rounder. At this stage, that might be the most strategic outcome for both parties. But let's pump the brakes for a second, because there's so much more to unpack. You've just gotten the first wave of seismic shakeups from OTAs, the names you need to monitor, the futures that might already be sealed. But we're only halfway through. the second half is coming, and it's going to plunge even deeper into what all of this means for the 2025 season and how this roster might actually crystallize by week 1. Because when you look closely, these OTAs didn't just offer a sneak peek at who's leading, they gave us clarity on what's likely headed our way. Browns fans, make no mistake, this is a team at a pivotal crossroads. Every position group is being redefined, and the coaching staff isn't pulling any punches. They're handing real reps to the rookies. They're challenging the veterans. And in some cases, they're making it crystal clear the pecking order is no longer built on reputation. It's strictly performance or bust. Let's revisit Shedeur Sanders for a moment, because his story is just getting started. If you're the Cleveland Browns and your once prized first-round franchise quarterback is on the brink of irrelevance, then the fifth-rounder, who's stacking impressive days in OTAs, suddenly becomes more than just a developmental project. This isn't merely about how Sanders looked in shorts and shells. This is about how quickly he's processing reads, how decisively he's delivering the ball. The coaching staff isn't oblivious. They see the spark. They see the future. And let's be real, if Sanders carries this momentum into minicamp and preseason, the notion of him leapfrogging Kenny Pickett on the depth chart isn't some hot take. It's inevitable. I'll pivot back to that running back room. Thank you. See you next video.